in Washington. And joining us now to break down those numbers even more and what they mean for you and your children, Diana Furchtgott-Roth, Senior Fellow at the Hudson Institute and former Chief Economist at the U.S. Department of Labor. Diana, it's always good to see you. Wish the news was better. Diana, why aren't private businesses stepping up to hire?
They're not stepping up to hire because they don't feel certainty in the economy. They think that taxes are scheduled to go up on January 1st, 2011. There's the cost of health care, a penalty of $2,000 per worker if the employers don't provide the right kind of health insurance. There's a potential new financial regulatory bill. All those are disincentives to hire. Plus, the BP oil spill might be used as an excuse for more environmental regulation. That's fewer jobs in the United States, more jobs in China.
So what you're saying, Diana, is that the government and its greater and greater intervention into business is creating this problem.
Right. They're creating this uncertainty. In fact, President Obama and Congress are very much anti-business. That means anti-employers. Employers don't know what's going to hit them next, and they're reacting by not expanding or, in some cases, cutting back on workers.
You were talking about the health care law and its impact on hiring, but it only really, yes, the law only really goes into effect for the requirement to buy health insurance in 2014. So why is that being played out now?
You can see the focus the administration has on implementation, on getting this going. Employers at the same time are thinking, well, how am I going to react to the new health care law? How do I have to change my behavior? So when it gets to 2013 or 2014, they're not just going to want to lay off people right away. They're going to want to prepare themselves, just as the administration is preparing employers and preparing the public for the new law. So that's why they want to have as few workers as possible if they don't provide health insurance, because of the $2,000 extra penalty, especially in the low-wage, low-skill sector. And we saw that the unemployment rate for low-skilled workers went up. We saw the rate for teens went up.
The rate for teens went a full percentage point to 26.4%.
That is so sad.
I know, and
that's so sad, especially for these kids who are looking for work right now over the summer. And one reason is the increase in the minimum wage from $5.15 3 years ago to $7.25 an hour now.
And so that's your point. That's just one example of what you see is government intervention and government rules and regulation that if they just got out of the way and moved in the other direction, would it solve that problem, Diana, if you added a greater exemption to the minimum wage rule for teen workers?
I think it would, because right now there's a federal government exemption for 90 days. In other words, under federal law, you can pay teens $4.25 an hour for 90 calendar days in a row. But these regulations are superseded by the state. So if a state has a minimum wage law of its own, but doesn't include teens in the exemption, like Illinois and California and New York, the teens don't get the exemption. Texas, on the other hand, the teens do get the exemption. And last month, the teen unemployment rate in Texas was markedly lower than average, just 20%, which is still high, but it's lower than the average. So what the federal government could do without any cost is expand the exemption for teens, say that its regulations supersede state law, make it longer than 90 calendar days. Right. And that would be one way to get these teens back to work. Then if they do a good job, they can get raises above the $4.25 an hour.
Is another solution to stop throwing money at the problem? Listening to Rich Edson, the number of construction jobs down, the homebuyer tax credit expired on April 30th. Is that a sign that all this money the government has thrown at this just, again, isn't working?
I think that's definitely right, and not just that. The stimulus package, the $787 billion stimulus package, all the housing bailout programs, all these, and all we have this month is 41,000 private sector jobs. It's extremely disappointing. It shows that Congress and the administration need to take a new tack and think about maybe keeping current rates permanent, current tax rates permanent. Perhaps thinking about not doing this environmental regulation, the
Right.
financial regulation.
Diana, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to see you. Diana Furchtgott-Roth, Senior Fellow at the Hudson Institute. Day 46.